Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we are meeting earlier than normal. We would usually be meeting on Thursday, but I have got several meetings this week on Thursday, so that's why we're doing it today. But normally we will meet on a Thursday again. There is one change though. So a number of the jazz students have to have some practical lessons on a Thursday. It's the only time that their lecturers can do it. So we're going to move it a bit earlier in the morning, okay? So on Thursday from next week, we will be meeting at 10 on a Thursday morning, okay? Does anyone else have lectures at that time? 10:30 on a Thursday morning. African music and dance, do you have lectures on a Thursday morning? No. Any problems with that? Yeah? At 11. Okay. Who is your teacher at 11? Mr. Jose. Okay, I'll speak to Jose and see if we can work out if we can just start that a little bit later. Okay, but I'll speak to him. All right. Now, thank you to all of you who have submitted work. I've marked everything I think that people have sent me, and we're going to work through some of those things this morning just to make sure that you understand fully what's going on, because I see that there's some things that we need to clear up. And if you have any questions about what was in that worksheet, we'll work through them now. Once we've done that, we're going to look at some new material for today, which is called transposition. Okay, I just need to close more windows because this leaf blower outside is making a lot of noise. Just hang on. Okay, it's still a bit loud, but we'll try and work with it as it is. Okay. Now, let's look at the questions that you were dealing with for your worksheet. I'm just going to go through a few of them because they will describe where the major problems are. So let's look at the first question, which was E major scale without key signature ascending. Okay, who can tell me what does without key signature actually mean? What does it mean if you must write a scale without a key signature? Now, if you know the answer, just unmute yourself and tell me. What does without a key signature mean? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
It means writing out the scale without, we write out the scale with each individual note that has sharps or flats with the sharps or flats.
Correct. Okay, so we still have to go through the process of finding what the key signature would be so that we know what all of the notes that need to be sharp or flat are. Okay, so to do that, we need the circle of fifths. So that when we are looking for the sharps that we need, we know exactly where to look for things. Okay. We also need to know the order of the sharps and the rhyme for that is Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Do you remember these things from last semester? There's the circle of fifths. There's the order of the sharps. How do we work out the order of the flats? Can you remember? Backwards, yes. Okay, so we've got everything that we need here. All right, we're just revising the worksheets. All right, so the first question asked for E major scale ascending without key signature. So what would be the first thing that we do? What do we need to do first? Say again. Sorry, I can't hear. Yes, E major scale ascending without key signature. What do we need to do first? Yes? Yes, circle of fifths. And what do we look for on the circle of fifths? We look for E. Here's E. Remember, C has no sharps. This has got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we now know that E major has 4 sharps. And we go to here to find out what those sharps are. F, C, G, and D. So now we know which sharps we need to put in to the scale. Okay? So we write out the scale from beginning to end, starting on an E, going up. And we need to check that the first note and the last note are the same letter name. E, E. So we're right. Okay, and there need to be 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we add in all of the sharps individually. F, C, G, D. And that would give you the correct answer. Now, I want to do the second one as well, because I want to point out something that a number of you are making an error with. This was E flat major scale descending, and it was in the bass clef. Okay, so let's go through the same process as we did before. What are we going to do first? Circle of fifths, yes. And we need to look for E flat. There's E flat over here. This has got 1 flat, 2, 3. So we're dealing with 3 flats. All right. So this one tells us what the flats are, B, E, and A. So those are the ones that we need to add. All right. And this was descending, which means going down. So I'll choose an E over here. You could have also done this E, by the way, up here. That's fine. But I'm going to start here on this one. And we do 8 notes. And we check that the first note and the last note are the same letter name. That's an E, that's it. And now we go through the process of adding the flats. The first one is B flat. The second one is E flat. And the last one is A flat. Now, the reason I've chosen to do this one is I wanted to show you, some of you didn't do the bottom E flat or this top E flat. You only did one, this one or that one. When you're dealing with particularly the flat keys, anything that starts with B flat, E flat, A flat, or C sharp, F sharp, if it has a sharp or a flat next to it in its name, it means that the first note and the last note need to have the flat or the sharp in the front of it. Okay? All right, it's very, very important. Another thing which many of you made an error with is when we got to later on, there were 5, I think, scales altogether that you had to write without key signature. One of them was D flat major. Many of you wrote for me D major. Can you see that there's D major? How many sharps does D major have? Then we have D flat. Okay, and if we count here, this is 3, 4, 5. That has 5 flats. They're very different from each other. D major, D flat major. Okay, just like you can have E major and E flat major. They are very different scales. One has sharps, the other one has flats. So be careful that you read the question very carefully, that you don't give D major when D flat is being asked for, or any of those. Okay? All right. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is just a procedure thing of how to write things properly. One of the scales that you had to write out with key signature, this time with key signature, was D major. I think it was the first scale that you had to write with key signature, okay? And you go through exactly the same process. You go over here, you find D, and we see that it's got two sharps. We see what the sharps are, F and C. So they have to be in that order. The F has to be first, and then the C comes. So we write F and C. All right. Some of you wrote this, F and G. And that would be incorrect because we need F, C, and only if you had three sharps could you have the G as well. Okay? So we need F and C. Other important thing is, when you are writing sharps and flats in a key signature, they cannot be underneath each other or on top of each other. They must be next to each other. Okay? So when you are writing out all of the sharps, F, C, G, D, A, E, B, do you see that none of them are underneath each other? Okay, same is true with the flats. I'll show that to you down here on another, on the bass clef. And you see that none of them are underneath each other. Okay, we've always got to remember that with key signatures, the sharps and the flats must be next to each other, not underneath each other. So I recommend that you don't make them too close to each other when you're writing the key signature, okay? The other thing is that some people wrote the key signature and then they started the scale over there when they wrote the scale. Can you see that here, the scale starts underneath the key signature? Can you see that? When you are writing a scale with a key signature, you actually need to start the scale after the key signature. So you need to imagine like there's a little line over there. Now you start the scale over there. Okay, with me? All right, please try and remember that. It just helps to make sure that everything is clean and clear. Now, it seems to me that some of you had forgotten a little bit of what we did last semester. Eh? So it's just getting everything back into your mind. Try not to forget this or this, because we're going to be using these all semester, okay? And they're becoming more and more important because these are for major scales, but we're also going to learn minor scales this semester and modes. So it's very important that you understand this, because if you understand this, it will help you with the others, okay? All right. Are there any questions that you have about the scales that you did in your worksheets before we continue on to the next bit? My suggestion for this week is that you revise being able to draw this, so you can do it without thinking about it, okay? This is something I want you just to memorize, okay? You'll find that a little bit later in the semester, we're going to find an easier way of doing this. But if you can do this, you're always going to be safe, okay? And this rhyme here, Father Charles goes down and ends battle, okay? Those things you just need to know by heart. All right. Now, the next thing in the worksheet was key signatures. And some of you seemed to get a little bit confused here. Again, it's got to do with the circle of fifths. Okay, and I'm just going to do 2 of them now to make sure that you are correct. Okay. Do them on the treble clef and the bass clef. Again, this requires memory work. You've just got to learn these patterns by heart. I'm going to do C sharp major. That was one of the key signatures that you had to do. And C sharp major, there's C sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has all 7 of the sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In that order. So we start like this. F, C, G, D, A, E, and D. Same down here. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. The pattern must look like this. You can't have an F sharp at the bottom or a G sharp at the bottom there. It must be at the top, okay? And it must look like this in the bass clef. There is no other way to do it. This you must just learn. With the flats, some of you are making a mistake. This is the treble clef. Sorry, it's going to be a bit squished there. That's what the treble clef looks like with all the flats. This is the bass clef. Hello. Some of you are writing these flats, B flat, A flat, and G flat up here. They can't be up there. They must be down at the bottom. And this is in your textbook from last semester. You must learn to write it just like this, okay? So I'm telling you this because if you do it incorrectly from now on, if you do something up in the wrong place, it will be marked wrong, okay? Even if it's the right flat name, but if it's in the wrong place for the key signature, it will be wrong. You must learn these patterns by heart, okay? Also remember, can you see none of them are underneath each other, they are next to each other. Next to each other, not underneath each other. Please remember that. You must always say it to yourself. Next to, not underneath. Next to, not underneath. Okay. Now, the bar lines. Most of you were okay with the bar lines, except for two particular questions. I think that some of you have not quite understood 3-2 and 2-2. 3-2, 2-2. So let's go back quickly to last semester. What does this mean? What does this tell us? 3 crotchets in a bar. How do we know crotchets? Because of the 4. Okay. How do we know 3? Because of the top number. 3 crotchets in a bar. The bottom number tells us what note. The top number tells us how many. Now, this number here at the bottom, we always start with 4, and then we say divide by this bottom number. So whenever you're working with a time signature, any time signature, you say 4 divided by 4. 4 divided by 8. 4 divided by 2. You always start with 4, okay? So 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. And a note that's worth 1 is a crotchet. 4 divided by 8 is a half. What kind of note is a half? A quaver. So we know 6 quavers in a bar, right? 4 divided by 2, 2. What's a 2 note? A minim, okay? So do you see how this works? Always start with 4, divide by the bottom number, okay? So when you've got 3-2 or 2-2, the 2 at the bottom tells us we're working with minims, okay? The top number tells us how many minims. So if you've got 3-2, we're dealing with 3 minims per bar. 1, 2, 3. How much is a minim worth? 2, 2, 2. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is equal to? So 1 whole bar must equal to 6. So all of the notes in a 3-2 bar must be equal to 6. Okay? Some of you got confused with this. When you saw 3-2, you made each bar worth 3, not 6. It must be 6. The same is true when we are working with 2-2. The bottom number tells us we're working with minims. The top number tells us how many. Okay? So we've got 2 minims in each bar. Each minim is worth 2. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So each bar, the notes must equal to 4. Let me give you a demonstration. This is a minim. Okay, so it doesn't come out so clear, but that is a minim. Right. How long is this note? 3. How long is this note? And this is also a half. How long is this?
1.
And this?
1.
3 plus a half is 3.5. Plus a half is 4. 5, 6. So our first bar line comes there. Okay? In 3-2. 1. How long is this? 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. 5, 5.5. 5 3/4, 6. You with me? Okay, and the same would be true for the 2-2 time. But this time, in 2-2 time, you would be equaling 4 per bar. Does that help clarify for you? Okay. The next thing that people were concerned about was syncopation. Write out a whole example here so that you can see how this goes. Right. Now, let's have a look at how this is working. 3/4 time. What does 3/4 time mean? 3 crotchets in a bar, 3 crotchet beats in a bar. So if we to divide this bar into the 3 crotchet beats, here's 1 crotchet, so that's 1 beat, isn't it? That's worth another crotchet beat. Okay? This is worth another crotchet beat. They are the 3 crotchet beats. 1, 2, 3. If I was to clap that, here's the pulse. 1, 2, 3, ba, da, da. Okay? 1, 2, 3. On the second beat, we've got 2 quavers. That means you've got to get 2 claps in that space. Also on the third. When we look at this next bar, though, we'll find something interesting. How much is this worth? Half. And how much is this worth? 1. When we look at this note over here, where does the first beat end and the second beat start? It's right in the middle of this note. I'll show you why. This is a half, and this note over here is worth a half plus a half, right? If I write it like that, it's the same thing. You with me? Half plus a half is equal to 1. That's beat 1. That half is actually part of beat 2. It's right in the middle of that note. Can you see that? So we won't hear the second beat if we're clapping this. We'll only hear the tapping of your foot, okay? This is what this bar will sound like. Okay? If I'm not tapping my foot, okay? Now you clap 1, 2, 3. Clap with me. 1, 2, 3. Keep it going. And I'm going to clap what's up here. See, I'm in between your beat each time, am I not? Try again. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Keep it going. 1, 2, 3, 2. That is syncopation. When what is written here is in conflict with the beat that is already there. Okay? The beat that we've set up is 3 crotchet beats per bar. What's written here is in between each of those beats. Okay? Do you see it's the same here? Half, and then we start the next whole note. So the next the next beat is actually in between that note there and in between that note. Okay. So how do you find if there's syncopation with written music? I'll show you now. In simple time, 3, 4, 2, 4, 4, 4, the beats are crotchet beats, right? They're equal to 1. When you get a situation where you like this, you've got a half plus 1 plus 1 plus a half. When you can't get 1, the number 1 on a whole beat. So we can't get here, there's only a half and then 1. If there can't be a full beat at the beginning, we're working with syncopation. There's only a half here. So we're off the beat, okay? That's how we know that we're on syncopation. So this whole bar is syncopated, okay? Now I put up a little video on the Moodle page that tries to explain syncopation some more for you. And I'd like you to go and watch that if you haven't already watched it. I added it yesterday. So if you haven't watched it yet, go and watch that video. Okay. Are there any questions from those of you who are online? All right, then some of you have indicated to me that you are concerned about what Anacrusis is. Okay, and I'm going to try and demonstrate Anacrusis with you now. I want you to start singing this song with me. I hope you'll all know it, okay? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear somebody. Happy birthday to you. Right, now, I want you to start clapping the beat with that, okay? Right, let's start singing it. 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear somebody. Happy birthday to you. Okay, see if you can work out what the time signature of this is. Is it 2-4, 3-4, 4-4? See what it feels like, okay? Here we go. 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear somebody. Happy birthday to you. Does it feel like 2, 3, or 4? 3. Watch here. Happy 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Happy 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Da da 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Da da 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Can you feel it? Right. Now I want you to count 1, 2, 3 while I'm singing it. Okay. First, start by going 1, 2, and I'll come in on 3. Okay. Ready? 1, 2. Happy birthday. Keep on counting 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2. Happy birthday. Come on, count 3. It's not so difficult. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear somebody. Happy birthday to you. Get it? Okay. Did you notice that you had to count 1, 2, and I only came in on 3? Listen to it again. 1, 2. Happy birthday to. Did you feel that? Now listen to the last note of the song and tell me how long it is. Okay, let's start again from the beginning. You're going to count 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear somebody. Happy birthday to you. Just 2. Okay, just 2 counts. Now, we started on beat 3. 1, 2, happy birthday, and birthday only came on beat 1. An anacrusis is when you start a song on the weak beat and then go on to the strong beat. Okay. In this case, the weak beat was beat 3. So there's like an incomplete bar. 1, 2, happy. We don't all count. 1, 2, happy birthday. That's not part of the song. The 1, 2 is not part of the song, is it? You just start straight away. Happy birthday. So it's just imagine that it's there. That's an anacrusis, when you have an incomplete bar at the beginning and only the 1 beat or 2 beats of that bar are used and then go into a complete bar. Okay. What usually happens at the very end of the piece is that the last note is the length of the bar minus the first note that you started with. How long was that first beat that we started the song on? 1, 2, happy. 1 beat. Okay. And how long was the last note? And we're in 3, 4. So 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So whatever you started with that was extra, you take it off at the end. Okay. That's anacrusis. Does that make it a bit more sense to you now? Okay. So anything that has, it's also called an upbeat because it feels like you're going up and then down. Now feel like this. Happy birthday. The bird part feels heavier. Okay, it's called the downbeat. But the happy is going up. Okay, it's lighter. Happy birthday. Okay, make sense? All right. Any questions from online? Nothing. Okay. So today we're going to learn quite an easy technique. It's called transposition. Who knows what the word transpose means? What does it mean to transpose?
Is it not changing the key of a song or piece
Yes,
of
it
music?
can be changing the key. Transposing in music means to moving notes up or down a determined interval, okay? So all of the notes must move in the same direction, okay? So, for example, you might be asked to transpose a melody up an octave or down an octave, okay? And we're going to learn how to do that now. It means that all of the notes in the tune must be moved up the same amount of distance, okay? Right, so let's take a look at an example. Everybody online, can you see the melody that I've written up there?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, now let's imagine that you are asked to transpose, that is move all of the notes up one octave. Who can tell me what an octave is? What does it mean? What is the interval of an octave? 12 semitones, yes. There are other definitions. What does oct mean? 8. So up 8 notes. All right. So if we count, if we start, what is the starting note here? Treble clef, first slide. E, right. So 8 notes up, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. It means we're going up to the next E. Where's the next E on the stave, on the treble clef? The last space over here, okay? Remember, F, A, C, E. So an octave higher is 8 notes higher, okay? Oct, 8. So you just count the letter names. There's an E. If we're asked to go up an octave, we're counting up 8 notes, okay? So whenever you're doing transposition exercise, the first thing you need to do is read the question carefully. And for your level now, you are only going to be asked to go up an octave or down an octave. So you're always going to be working with 8 notes, all right? Your first step is to work out what the first note would be up or down an octave. And because this is up an octave, we take the first note, E, and then we count up 8 like we've just done. That's step number 1. You notice, look, everything is exactly the same over here, isn't it? Treble clef, key signature is the same, time signature is the same. Everything is the same. Right, now let's name all of these notes. We know that this is an E. What's this note here? Yeah. So we've got the first note, we've taken it up, 8, okay? G, we've got to go up 8, right? So this is E, F is the line, G. So our next note is G. Then we need to go up to B. This is G, A is that note over there. So B is just above that. There's B. You with me so far? Okay. Now it goes down to A. A is on the line. A, G, F is on the line. And so that is this melody up an octave. So let me play for you the first tune. Here's the first tune. Right, that's the top line. Here's the bottom line. See, it's just higher, okay? This is transposed up an octave. Now, let's say you are asked to transpose something down an octave and into another clef. So let me give you, write out an example for you. You're already tired and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. 11:15, sorry. All right, now we're going to transpose this down an octave and into the bass clef. Right, so we need to consider a number of things here. Let's first write all the letter names of the notes, okay? What is the first note? Can you see there? What is that second note? Are you sure? G. G, yes. We already know that this is an A. Telepilo, the next note. Yes, you're right. Let's see, who haven't I asked? The next one. C. E. Easy, huh? Okay. Now, let's work out an octave lower than this, firstly, of the first note in the treble clef. So let's stay in the treble clef for the moment and let's work out an octave lower. So this line is G, that's F, that's E. This space here is D, C, B, A. So A, an octave lower. There's A, an octave lower. Now I want to show you something. There's middle C, right? With me? Middle C. And I'm just going to write, let's just move this middle C over a little bit. There's middle C, and here's the C, B, A. Okay? Now, in that bass clef, that's also middle C. Okay? So this note and this note, they are the same. Okay? You with me? So let's work out where the A must be on the bass clef. That's B. So one note down from C is B. Another note down from B is A. So that A down an octave in the bass clef is that A. Have you followed me? Let's do it again. That's middle C. That's also middle C. One note down from middle C. There's one note down from middle C. One note down from B. One note down from B. Okay. Right. So now we can continue. First, we have to put the key signature in. The time signature, and here's the A. There's A. G is one note. There's G. Goes back up to A. Now, we have to go to B. So here's B. We have to go one up to C. There's C. One up to E. One up to E. Okay. So this is transposing down one octave and into another clef. Okay. Let's take this melody down another octave. So we're in the bass clef. We keep the key signature and the time signature. Now let's go down an octave. This is A. Where's another A lower on the bass clef? The bottom space. Then we've got G, which is one down, back to the A. Then we go E, C, D. Okay. So here's the first one. Here's the top one. Here's the second one. And here's the third one. All in different octaves. Make sense? So I'm going to put up an example now, which I'd like you to try. Okay, those of you who are at home, just take out or rule some music lines so that you can do this on your own. Okay, I'll get it for you now. Okay, I just want to write out the exercise first. I'm going to write two exercises on the board here. Okay, in this top one here, you're going to go up an octave, and you're going to stay in the treble clef. Okay, up an octave in the treble clef. This one, you're going to go down an octave, and you're going to move into the bass clef. Okay, start doing that now. I'm just going to go and fetch. I'm going to go and fetch. Okay.
I don't know. What is that? But I'm looking into yes, really. I go on. Looking into yes, say we do understand that you're what is that? So this is kind of when I'm a where woman we want
For those of you online, just start working on that.